I'm feeling it. I'm feeling a change. I'm feeling it. In the Ayr United stuffed at Ibrox. I'm feeling all right, folks. How you doing? Yes. This is your Gersnet immediate post-match reaction pod coming to you in association with Forest Precision Engineering, your dancer, and our good friends at Football Prizes. You absolute beauty, my name. This honest, sonsy face, this great chieftain of the pudding race. That's a Rang Burns poem, Alec. It's Alec Anderson, and I'm talking to you from outside Ibrox after Rangers have slaughtered the honest men of Ayr United by 2-0 in tonight's Scottish Cup tie. That's us through the quarter-finals, where at 4:30 tomorrow we'll be drawn against Aberdeen at Pittodrie. I failed you, didn't I? I failed you, didn't I? On Tuesday night after that game, I was just so tense. I was so utterly cowardly during that game the other night. Thanks to all the rest of the Rangers support for carrying me and the team through it, because I disappeared. I just checked out altogether. And by the time I came out here to do my post-match reaction pod after that game, I was just so drained of emotion. My nerves absolutely shot to pieces that I just didn't have it wasn't a reaction befitting such a mammoth, such an epic, such a gargantuan result. So I'm going to make up for that tonight after we utterly stuffed Ayr United, the massive club for the kind of middle end of the bottom of the championship. But anyway, it was brilliant, absolutely fantastic result, a magnificent performance by Rangers. I am psyched out my nut. My son, these maxims make a rule, and lump them either together. The rigid righteous as a fool, the rigid wise another. The cleanest corn that e'er was dight may hae some piles of chaff in, so ne'er a fellow creature slight for random fits a daffin. I'm just daffing with you folks. That's a Rang Burns poem again, Alec. Jesus Christ, mate. Get it together. So that's us through the next round of the Scottish Cup. This is very much the kind of before and after the Lord Mayor's show tonight, all about getting minutes into legs of players who are unfit for various reasons, coming back from injury, newly signed, having played in a summer domestic league before they came to us, and getting them warmed up, letting the players relax, let the players rest who put the major shifts in on Tuesday night against Aberdeen, getting these guys warmed up for Wednesday against Ross County. I was so shattered. I'm going to talk mostly about Aberdeen and Ross County. I was so shattered after that game the other night that it was Thursday morning after the Celtic game played on the Wednesday night. I'm sitting there trying to work it right. So what do we need to do next Wednesday? Scottish Cup this weekend. So what do we need to do next Wednesday to go tap with the league against Ross County? And I'm nearly getting the calculator out, because I didn't want to cheat by looking up the league table, on my phone and like that. Because I'm a real football fan, I know stuff. And I'm sitting there going, right, so if we carry the 1 and it's a 2 and multiply by pi and divide by 3 to the power Kelvin and stuff. Alec, we won 2-1 the following night. Celtic won 2-1. It's exactly the same scenario. We got to win by 3 clear goals, and we got to win by 3 clear goals to go tap the league. That is the main thing, is to get 3 points on board. But exactly the same scenario as last Tuesday. But we've got to win by 3 clear goals against a third time in a trot, 3 games in a row at Ibrox against clubs suffering major managerial upheaval. Though I think in the case of Ross County, it won't be so much new manager bounces, no manager bounce. They're just glad to get rid of Derek Adams, who was pretty much, I was pretty much the Derek Adams of Gersnet on Tuesday night, just trying to kind of constructive resignation. Just, why are you having me on this podcast? I can't handle it. And he's been pretty much the same in managing Ross County. Those players are going to be psyched out. They're not the same as I am right now when they come to Ibrox on Wednesday. They'll be so happy just to be not playing for Derek Adams that they're bound to put in a great performance. It'll be every bit as difficult for us to get 3 points there as it was against Aberdeen last Tuesday. Look, folks, I needed this. I think the players needed this. I think the Rangers needed this. 2-0. It wasn't exactly smooth sailing in this game, but that's what's going to happen when you make 6 changes, I think, to the starting lineup. The game tonight, but I needed this. I don't mean I needed it in the way Count Almasy needs Lady Catherine Clifton. I mean, Dirty Dancing, you see they two when they did the tango together. I mean, I get pregnant just watching that. I don't need it the way Dirty Didi needs Gail Dove. I didn't need it the way Juliette Binoche needs what's the guy? The guy who used to be in Playaway, Jeremy Irons. That's it. No, Brian can't help himself in that film. My God, absolutely debauched stuff. But it wasn't that kind of. I didn't need it that way. I needed it the way like towards the end of the week, you've been trying to do your 10,000 steps every day, maybe Thursday night, Friday, that you have, instead of having the shower, you have a bath, because it's not about getting clean, it's just about letting the legs relax, feeling the muscles, and you're like, I needed that, that was good, I needed it the way, like the cup of tea. Tuesday night against Aberdeen was the cup of tea, but this was the night was the biscuit they need just to round it off, the hobnob or what, the chocolate digestible. I'm not going to do that Peter Kay routine, but I needed it the day. It was just like, that's nice, this kind of finishes it off. I needed it the way, then like you decide you're going to walk for the station. You're not going to get the bus up the road. You're going to walk for the station up the road, and then you're kind of halfway up the road, and you suddenly remember, I had a couple of schlores at lunchtime for Janice's 50th because, well, her husband doesn't like her having night suit. I think he's a bit possessive and doesn't like her drinking either. So we all had a wee thing at lunchtime there, and there's a cumulative effect there. So you're not busting, but it's you're feeling yourself a bit uncomfortable when you get in the house. You've got time to take your jacket off, but you're not going to stop and take your shoes off. You're just getting up to that toilet, and it's not kind of, oh my God, it's just like, I needed that. It was the same the night. I just needed something that was going to let Tuesday, let my nerves kick in, get back to seeing Rangers again in a more relaxed fashion, get back to being back in that seat and not associating it with total fear of everything we could lose. It was just a nice, it should have been easy Scottish Cup game. It was going to be pretty straightforward, going to be pretty boring. Our manager yesterday saying that he will resign directly from football if he thinks for 1 second that a referee is anything other than totally neutral. I will resign from football if I've got to go to a 5:30 kick-off on a Saturday again. The days are long gone when I can be bothered. Remember, I used to have the 6 o'clock kick-offs on a Saturday night and a Sunday night on Sky. You don't have to do that to your weekend. It's totally imbalanced. I'm only meant to be eating and drinking at that point in time. My Ruthie Neighbours and that kind of stuff. Riemann Swats that drink divinely, all that kind of stuff. I think we're on the right poem now. I think it's the right one. But it's a terrible time for a kick-off. But really weird scenario with the 6 changes to the starting lineup. Expected as well. We had, what did we have? We had Borna Barisic back in instead of Ridvan Yilmaz at left back. We had the three signings that Mr. Clement made during the winter, during the January transfer window. They all started tonight for the first time. We had Oscar Manuel Cortez on the left-hand side. We had Silva playing up front instead of Dessers. Cortez in instead of Rabbi Matondo. Diomande, he's in and playing at 10 instead of Todd Cantwell. And we also had out on the right-hand side instead of Ross McCausland, we had Scott Wright playing. More of him later. I could be forgiven for having forgotten that Scott Wright played. That's cruel. It's a cruel thing to say. The main thing was that the boy got minutes back in his legs, and that's what it was about. The big one probably that affected the game more than anything else was the 2 changes in the sitting 2 in midfield. It's a 4-2-3-1 that Philip Clement keeps playing, the same as we did under Michael Beale, but that's just the formation. The way we play it is completely different. And instead of Lundstrom, instead of John Lundstrom, we had Nico Raskin, and instead we had Ryan Jack. It was Nico Raskin and Ryan Jack. And I think we've also, just after one game of Tom Lawrence sitting in there alongside John Lundstrom, we're almost seeing them as a fixture now. That's what we're going to play when we want to get a big win at Ibrox. So Ryan Jack and Nico Raskin suddenly very much looking like the reserve sitting 2. And it's quite a change not to see John Lundstrom playing. It's quite a thing. I'll do the Heat thing, because basically the game's just straightforward. The game is just straightforward. 1-2-0. It was one of those games against lower league opposition where you field a lot of reserve players. It's not as smooth as you want it to be. You're playing at home, but it's all about just getting minutes in legs and keeping momentum going. We kept a clean sheet as well. The thing that you notice when John Lundstrom's not playing now, that they change. It's one of the ways you notice the changes that Philip Clement has made. I might have talked to you before about a film called Heat. It's directed by Michael Mann, and people thought Heat was a fantastic film. I might have mentioned this before, because Robert De Niro and Al Pacino, who had been in Godfather 2 together, but a different kind of way. It was the two of them, the first time they were acting directly opposite each other, talking to each other in scenes and what have you. This was the first time they'd been in a movie properly together. De Niro and Pacino, two great actors of Hollywood. And if you see that, a few years later, there was a film called Righteous Kill, which starred Robert De Niro and Al Pacino very much acting together in lots of scenes, and it was one of the worst films I've ever seen in my life. It's absolutely right. You should watch it just for a laugh. Also stars a guy called Brian Dennehy, who was in the first ever film called The Jericho Mile, directed by a man called Michael Mann, and Michael Mann directed Heat, and Michael Mann is the difference. It's not the actors. A lot of the actors here, a lot of the players at Rangers, see what I'm doing there, that's clever stuff. You're getting this for nothing. They're all the same, as the guys who were getting slagged rotten. John Lundstrom's a case in point, taking a power of abuse, even during the early part of this season. The last time we played Aberdeen at Ibrox, that's why it was so epic the other night. The last time we played them at Ibrox, they beat us 3-1, they got our manager sacked. So that was a big part of the nerves the other night, and the reason it felt like a European game, which we seem to get slagged for a lot during the week. But the turnaround in players, and John Lundstram, I think, embodies it more than anybody else. And you actually got to the point tonight you were missing Lundstram, and it's him coming on. I think Todd Cantwell as well, when he come on later in the game, makes a difference. But you can see, as I say, that if I don't want to say director because that's going to confuse things with director of football, which is a big thing at Rangers as well. That's been a big talking point. But if our manager is kind of a director, like the way a movie director is a director, then the actors are the same. But you can work it out for yourself. Sorry, I've not explained that very well. I just have to get heat in there somewhere. But you could notice the difference tonight. Obviously, Nico Raskin and Ryan Jack are both coming back from long-term injuries. I've just been bled back into the team. I think a lot of people are giving them a bit of stick just now. But it weren't quite firing on all cylinders the way we were the other night. And you've got to pace these things if you want to be winning on all fronts. If we're going for 3 more competitions after the one we've already won, you don't win anything in February. No, you don't. The cups aren't handed out in February. No, they aren't. They're handed out in December, 17th December. We won that one. So nobody here's saying it ends handed out in February. We're just really chuffed that we're back playing, looking like we'll be there or thereabouts come May. So that was the 6 changes. And one thing I've noticed with Rangers under Clement, the other night with a corner within 48 seconds against Aberdeen, something like 40 odd seconds, with a corner at Easter Road within 40 odd seconds as well the other week. And that was after Todd Cantwell putting the ball straight out of play at Easter Road against Hibs. The Hibs had a corner against us within 90 seconds of that game. So it doesn't always mean anything other than Rangers are on it. They're organised, they're focused, they're ready, they're starting a wild pace. Now, we didn't get that corner within 40 odd seconds tonight, but within a minute and 16 seconds, Cortez, a very languid player, I think he's got a kind of lazy style. He's probably going to end up getting a lot of stick if those games were struggling in, but I think he's just one of these kind of cool, calm, collected carriers who can't rush things. He hits the post with a curling shot from the left-hand side. He hits the faraway post, I think a minute and 16 seconds by the time I looked up at the clock. So that was us. It looked like we'd got off to a good start. Things weren't going particularly smoothly, and they won't with that amount of changes in the team. Good to see Diamondi in there playing in the 10 position instead of Todd Cantwell. We'll get our first look at him since we got him from North Zealand. A lot of intricate stuff, and I think when we are attacking a team like Ayr United, a team that's struggling in the Championship, as I say, and we're topping with Europa League group and stuff like that, we should be dominating them. We have got the fullbacks high. You've got Borner's right up high on the left hand side, Tav right up high on the right hand side, and at times that was kind of pushing the front 4, the 3-1 that we usually have, into a kind of compressed diamond shape at times. I don't know if it was making life more difficult for Ayr United or making it more difficult for us at times. A lot of rustiness there, but about 11 minutes on the clock, Borna Barisic, who scored against St Johnstone, remember, only goal of the game against St Johnstone, the Scottish Cup at McDermott, again, one of the Viaplay kick-off times. A Saturday night, I was watching that one on the telly, so I could have my dinner during that one. He scored the only goal of the game up there, and he had a crack from the edge of the box tonight, and I think it hit off a few players. Ayr United's kit, again, I'm talking about kits and other post-match reaction pods. Black and white, I'm a massive fan of the German national team, so white is an absolute classic for me. You can't really go wrong with it, but Ayr United were certainly trying their best with it tonight. It's a kind of rugby league looking kit. I'm thinking a team that plays in black and white in rugby league, it's Hull Kingston Rovers, Hull FC, the one of them playing black and white, I think. Anyway, it made it more difficult for you, is what I'm trying to say. That's my excuse. So these kind of flashes, dashes across the front of their kit. It was a kind of Q-ship effect, if you're Celtic Moral War stuff. And I couldn't really see what's happened, but it definitely hit at least one player. I think there's a deflection somewhere, but in it went. The ferocity and general accuracy of Borna's shot saw it into the net after like 10, 11 minutes. So that's it. Everybody relaxes straight away. And I did this thing the other week where I just started thinking, I started looking through the goals, the times there were goals, and that's the thing with Clement. I got in my head, Clement is getting goals in the middle of the game. The mature time to score goals, 20 odd minutes, half an hour, and then gets to like 60, 70 minutes, sometimes we're 3-0 up or 2-0 up, the game's kind of done, and he starts boldly making changes in preparation for the next game. But I think tonight we've started like that. We've started making so many changes at the start of the game, the starting lineup, that they have that kind of effect of slowing things down that we usually get at the end of an important game that we're winning. So I've gone from thinking we scored lots of goals in the middle of the game to the last 2 games we've scored really early on, first in 10 minutes or so, and the next goal doesn't come until worryingly later, 70 odd minutes, as it was against Aberdeen the other night, and again tonight. I think it was about 20 minutes or so into the game, started probably by Connor Goldson. The big man's been getting a bit of stick recently, which is totally out of order. Majowski's a cracking striker, and that was a good goal Aberdeen scored the other night. Sometimes you have to hold your hand up. It was all brilliantly placed. I don't think Big Connor was as much to blame as even I thought he was on the night. But he kind of walked the ball out for a shy at one point, and then later on, it was about 25 minutes, not long after that, he takes the ball forward over the halfway line, but kind of forgets to follow it, and United just break on it straight away. They take easy possession. He's gifted the ball to them, and he's dug out of jail by Souter Johnny, his ancient, trusty, truthy crony. That's the right. But this is all for free. You're getting this for free. There's a theme going through the whole thing. Anyway, so that's it. He's given the ball away a big corner, and that gave United a bit of confidence. Who knows? Maybe we got more confident anyway. Maybe we were taking the foot off the gas. The players who were playing the other night, but it was basically 4 of our defenders, including the goalkeeper. Maybe they started taking their eye off the ball. I don't know, thinking this is in the bag. They're maybe a bit drained or whatever. But there was a general kind of lull. United came into the game. They got themselves a few corners, getting a bit of confidence. And we struggled a bit. It got a bit boring. Half time, 0-0. Come out second half, no changes. Scott Wright was struggling. I thought maybe it's just because this happens just by being at a game. I'm in the main stand side. First half, he's over Govan stand side. So maybe I just wasn't noticing stuff that he was doing. It was quite compressed there because United seemed to sit out in a kind of 4-4-2 almost at times. Or maybe it was a kind of 4-5-1. Or whatever, but they were very rarely going over the halfway line first 20 minutes, but they got more confident. I couldn't really see what Scott Wright was doing anything. He's trying to get himself back into playing regular football. We come out second half, no changes. Again, a bit of back and forth. United winning a few corners, no real danger from them. We never really looked under any danger of losing a goal, but you keep losing corners. That's all it takes is one flick, one sclaff, one deflection, one VAR decision, handball or something, and you're in right stick. And I think that the thing most people were fearing tonight, more than even get out the Scottish Cup to a Championship side, and the blow that would give to our momentum under Clermont, was extra time at this time on a Saturday night. I need to be home drinking, fast by an Ingle blazing finally with some Riemann Swats that drink divinely. But we eventually, I think it's like seeing the difference, but an hour, just before the hour mark, we made a triple substitution. Yilmaz come on for Borna Barisic, and I was pleased for Borna getting the goal, being kind of reduced to understudy of late. Stephen Gerrard's signings, a cracking player, Borna Barisic, and still very, very, very useful to us. So it's good to see him, kind of highlighting the fact he started tonight by getting the first goal of the game. And we ended up, we brought on Yilmaz for him, we brought on Todd Cantwell for Diamande, and we brought on Matondo for Cortez, and we immediately upped the pace a bit. Things started getting a bit more Todd Cantwell was almost trying to coax Wright into the game. He went a wee run, Wright. He did a wee kind of mad dribble into the box, into the byline, and it didn't quite result in a goal. There was at one point with a couple of overhead kicks. You'll have seen the game on the telly, or you're going to see it on the telly. You'll see the highlights or whatever. I'm just trying to give you a reaction here. But it wasn't really happening, and then it was 70 minutes we brought on John Lundstrom. We brought on the man himself, the man of the moment. He came on for, I think, maybe Ryan Jack, or was it Raskin? Can't remember. I'd fallen asleep at that point. I was psyched. It was a fantastic performance. I'm really excited about this one. But that was it. Todd Cantwell, and we just upped the pace too much. The minute Cantwell came on, I noticed that this whole direct thing we're doing under Clermont was really highlighted when Tavernier was just firing the ball straight to Cantwell because he knew he would do something with it. A couple of times we were really unlucky not to catch Ayr United on the break. Also lucky not to get a few breakages in the legs department, a few late tackles from Ayr United players happy to make their mark and all that kind of thing. Fair play to them. They did their fans proud tonight, I thought, generally. But ends up Todd Cantwell just works a bit of magic down the right hand side. Was it 75 minutes, 76 minutes, something like that? And he puts a ball to the back post from the right hand side, which is just post-it notes and like a big saying "put me in the back of the net." There's a big kind of luminous sign over it saying "put me in the back of the net." There's somebody's carved in woods underneath it. What more do you want? Put this in the back of the net. Just an absolutely delicious ball. It was almost like he could have put it in himself if he wanted. You could see him in putting that ball across it. He thought, "Well, I put backspin on it. Well, I put enough backspin on it to actually put it in. No, these boys, I've been getting all the goals recently, these boys need a goal. Somebody needs a confidence boost. I'm going to be still fannied about, but eventually Silva spun like a sixpence. A Silva sixpence? I don't know. Just run about the penalty spot to slam it into the far corner of the Copeland Road net. 2-0, game over. Kind of petered out after that. The stars of the show tonight, the demons of the show, the villains of the piece, Scott Brown and Willie Collum. I thought, again, I'm talking about Philip Clement, the way he talked yesterday. Although I have to say, I noticed the game against Aberdeen the other night, he's wearing the old Ayr United scarf. Black with kind of grey into white through it. It's a pretty classy wee, like Ayr United casuals almost. The scarfers kind of merged with casuals, and they started getting trendy. No Burberry, but a kind of trendy Ayr United scarf, and he was wearing it when he took his wife down to the Tam O'Shanter Inn. This truthful and honest Tam O'Shanter is he for Ayr United canter all day wham there a town surpasses for honest men and bonny lasses. If this had been the Super Bowl tonight, if Scotland went the same way as the NFL, it would be the Govan teddy bears against the Ayr honest men. I'm trying to convolute these two games. You get Ayr, and we played Aberdeen the other night, a team who were formed in 1904 by a merger of three different clubs to become the only club in a town beginning with A, and we've beat them in 6 League Cup finals. And you get Ayr United, a club formed in 1910 by a merger of two different clubs to become the only club in a town, beginning with A, who we beat in a League Cup final in 2002. But I thought yesterday when the manager started talking about Willie Collum, and he was asked about it, the way he dealt with that was absolutely brilliant. I'm going to keep talking about films. It's the only way to explain what I mean half the time. It's the only thing I feel as passionate about is football. I felt as if the way he dealt with the whole Collum thing, he's asked the question and he's saying he's good. He's glad that Collum's refereeing the game, and that, of course, that set him up straight away. Well, your club wanted him never to referee another Rangers game this season, and he's like, aye, but it's we all make mistakes, and he eventually got forced to say basically that he disagreed with the club's policy on that, but it'll not happen again. And the film thing for me is De Niro. When he was playing Godfather, it's Quentin Tarantino, I saw talking about this years ago, saying when everybody knew that Robert De Niro was going to be playing Vito Corleone in Godfather 2, they thought he's going to have to impersonate De Niro. He's going to have to impersonate Marlon Brando. He would do a Marlon Brando impersonation, because obviously Brando plays the old Vito Corleone in the first Godfather, and the dead Vito Corleone. Sorry, I might have ruined that for you if you've not seen it. It's a good film, watch it. He doesn't die, whatever. So everybody's thinking De Niro is going to be playing the young Vito Corleone. He's going to have to impersonate Brando. So everybody watches it and realises, no, he just plays Vito Corleone. He plays a young Vito Corleone. Great actors, they've got the same attitude, the same skill, but they're not acting the same way. They're playing the character, because that's their job. And I feel as if Philip Clement, we're never going to get another Walter Smith. Walter Smith was the absolute greatest, but in the same way that, for example, Steven Gerrard was Graham Souness, the same thing to us, coming from Liverpool, European Cup winning captain, but not the same in that Souness actually played for us and won multiple trophies. They both did that thing where they came to Rangers at a really bad point in their history, where they really had to get themselves back to the top of the game, and they needed a character who could drag them up by the hair. It was about character as much as managerial skill. I think it's the same thing. Philip Clement is not going to be Walter Smith, but he is going to be a great Rangers manager. He knows how to be a great Rangers manager, to play that character, to be that character. It might only be a cameo role if Clement keeps going the way he's going. It might even go beyond this season if he ends up winning a treble or something like that. But I think he's an absolute credit to us if he starts doing the political stuff and knows how to kind of rectify things. And he, I think, straight away understands that Rangers can't do that thing that other clubs will do, which is, if we don't win, we're going to burn the home game down. We don't want to be that cultish. We don't want to be that kind of club. So I thought there's times that these things have got to be questioned. There's times that particularly state we've been in, we're clawing our way back to the top end of the game after everything that happened to us in 2012, getting booted at the top leagues and what have you. There comes a point you've just got to fight back and start getting a bit hysterical and using the media and what have you to try and claw your way back. But if it doesn't suit your character, it's going to do as much damage as good. And I think that's what Philip Clement instinctively understands, like all great men as well as great managers understand. He's an absolute credit to just the way he dealt with the whole Willie Collum thing, to the point that the entire Rangers support was singing, "If you hate Willie Collum, clap your hands tonight," until Willie Collum gives a free kick. So it works. Pressure on referees. Shut up, Philip. It absolutely works. Pressuring referees. We're into the next round of the Scottish Cup. That is the main thing. Momentum maintained. See, another clean sheet. So it's just one of those kind of games where everybody's getting minutes in the legs, etc. It was no way spectacular. It wasn't particularly enjoyable, but it was needed. It was needed for fans, for guys like me, who I don't think we cared too much the other night. I don't think it was too much. I think it's totally understandable. And a thing I realised, to be that fraught about that game, people talking about it, were saying everybody's kind of agreeing on social media the day after it was like a European game. Even down to the tunes were playing at the end of the game. And wasn't it, an Aberdeen fans coming basically saying, well, that's a great compliment to us. You think playing us is like a European game? And by the way, I was doing the whole Cup Winners' Cup thing. Ayr United. Who was the last team we played before we played Moscow Dynamo in Barcelona? It was Ayr United. It was Ayr United. It was the last team we played. That was our last league game in 1972. We certainly didn't make any Scottish Cup finals in 1972. So that was our last competitive match before we went 20 odd days later over to Nou Camp to play Moscow Dynamo and our one and only European trophy success, ultimate success. So quite significant in their own way. Ayr United, we beat them in the last 10 years or so. We have beaten them like 4 times in the league. In one of the 3 league campaigns Rangers have had in their history, they've gone the whole league campaign unbeaten. Although it's not one we want to talk about, but we beat them all 4 times in the league. We beat them on our way to winning the Challenge Cup. The only time we won the Challenge Cup, we beat Ayr United at Somerset, I think 2-0. En route to that, we beat them in the Scottish Cup almost like 6 years ago tomorrow. We beat them 6-1 at Somerset. That was Cumdog and Morelos. Josh Windus scoring that game as well. We gave them that a total pasting. Down there, and we beat them in the League Cup quarter-final in Gerrard's first season, but Morelos gets suspended. Remember, he missed the Aberdeen game. It was really significant in the semi-final. But we're giving them a real hard time, Ayr United. And I think we beat them in the 2000 Scottish Cup semi-final 7-0. And we won the double that season and won the treble the season before. We beat them in the 2002 League Cup final, the only major domestic cup final, the only major cup final they've reached, Ayr United. We beat them 4-0 in that 2002 to win a cup double that set us up for the treble the following season. And the only time I ever remember that Ayr United being in the top flight, I think it's the only time they've been in the top flight since the reorganisation back in 1975 that saw the top flight reduced, Premier Division, which eventually became SPL and all that. It was 77-78. You remember John Gregg's, we scored about 5 down there at Somerset Park, and a great John Gregg solo goal where he batters his way through everybody and slams it into the net down at Somerset Park. You'll have seen that in your Greatest Rangers Goals videos, what have you. Absolutely cracking goal, and that was 77-78. We won the treble, so there is, I don't know, I feel there's a wee buzz, there's something significant about that tonight. And Scott Brown, he gets booked tonight and the camera goes on to him and his face just goes pure red, because he's so obsessed. I actually end up feeling sorry for Scott. I know it's a terrible thing to say, but Scott Brown's such a self-conscious character, and I think it was, we all feel he was fortunate at the time. He earned it. He totally earned it. Everything he did with Celtic, everything he won as Celtic captain. But I think we all feel as if we'd been around at full strength, it would have been different. But ifs and buts don't count. But I feel as if I can't really get into the full we hate Scott Brown stuff, because I think Scott Brown's got enough demons of his own. I don't think he's going to be in management very long, but it was good. I remember him scoring into the Celtic end, a full Celtic end, before the kind of political dances around away fans and Old Firm games. 2011 that would be, Scottish Cup, 2-each draw at Ayr Utd. They beat us in the replay, and Scott Brown, an absolute beauty of a goal, curling it into the top corner. I remember him playing for Hibs back in 2005, 2006, that would be, under Alec McLeish. We were under Alec McLeish, and Hibs beat us 3-0 in the Scottish Cup at Ibrox here, and then he curls that goal that day. He curls an absolute wonder goal in an Old Firm game. Everybody's dream to score into the massed ranks of their own support behind a goal like that, and his first thing is to go and get in a Rangers player's face, to be a character and all that. It's painful stuff. It's the kind of person I've met a lot outside, in real life, so to speak. People who are just permanently angry, permanently self-conscious, and they feel the only way they can really kind of make up for that is by trying to anger other people, try to wind you up, and if you eventually bite, well, finally they've found somebody who's as uncool as themselves, and it gives them some sort of satisfaction. A great player for Scotland as well, Scott Brown, but I think that might be the last time we ever see him involved in professional football at Ibrox. I don't think he's going to be a great manager, but a great player, but I don't think we should have any problems with him tonight. That shouldn't have been the focus, and it wasn't. It would be Neil Lennon's son at Dumbarton. It seems to be a theme of the Scottish Cup this year, but it was well done, and I think this whole thing, it's like a European game. I remember it being a European game, a European type atmosphere. against Motherwell at Ibrox twice. When we played them in the League Cup in our first season in the lower leagues, we got them in the League Cup September, and Motherwell were top of the league at the time, and we beat them 2-0, and it was to kind of prove we're not going anywhere, but it really felt, it was live on the telly and all that, and it felt like a really different, the most exotic Motherwell had ever looked to us. And the night we played them in the promotion playoff first leg at Ibrox, they beat us 3-1, and they made a 6-1 aggregate scudding of us in 2015. For to get promotion relegation battle back into the top flight. That was like a European game. I mean, they missed. There was playing a game like that, a packed Ibrox at that time of year as well. Feels like a European semi-final almost, and they beat us. So it's part of. I think when you feel there's something affecting you historically. Europe does that automatically, but it's very rare that you get it domestically. And I think the reason we felt that way the other night was because although we have won the title, since we come back up from the lower leagues, we haven't won it in front of the Bears. That's garbage, but the only reason we did win it was because the stadiums were empty in 2021. Well, the following season we got to a European final with our fans at Ibrox, and I felt that was, we inspired that team to a European final. I know they say that supports can't score goals, but my God, that was magic from the start to the end. So I don't get in that. The only reason we won it was because of COVID, but we won it because we're a great team that season. But this is the first time in a generation almost, if you like, Rangers are going to win the top title with our fans in the stadium. And there's been so many letdowns with the fans in the stadium that when we're struggling a bit in that game, and it was 1-1 for a long time, and even when we get the goal, we're still kind of hanging on at times. Aberdeen get that free kick towards the end, we're hanging on very much, and you watch the game back, it was a lot more comfortable than you realise. But that's why it felt so good, because it was so significant for Rangers to be in that situation where we're not counting any chickens. But we're in the title race come February. Older fans will remember, so I keep going on about this just to try and prove the point. Back in January 1987, we beat Hamilton Accies 2-0 at Ibrox. Really controversial game. I saw it recently on the Rangers archive. Stephen Miller. It was later that month. Hamilton put us out of the Scottish Cup at Ibrox, and I was at that one. But I was working this day. The only time I ever worked on a Saturday was that day, and it was the first time Rangers went top of the league in January for like 10 years, and we eventually won the league for the first time in 10 years. It was, or 9 years. So it was, things like this become majorly significant, and they do feel like European games. They feel monstrous. They feel great, and I really enjoyed that tonight. I really enjoyed that tonight as a warm down from Tuesday and a build up to next Wednesday against Ross County, which is what it's all about. Right, folks, I don't know if Scott, sorry, I haven't checked, I don't know if Scott and Craig are going to do a post-match reaction tonight from inside Ibrox, maybe not, but if they do, they'll probably have Chris Boyd involved in the last one, so that was, if you haven't seen that, get on that and check that out. Absolutely brilliant. They got Boyd involved in that one. You're just stuck with me ranting and raving, but this market day is wearing late. Folk are beginning to tack the gate, and I need to get myself a Riemann swat that drinks divinely. Join us on the flagship show tomorrow night at 9:30 live on YouTube. It's going to be John, Stuart Weir and Chris Jack, so it's going to be an absolute belter of a show, and they'll give you a proper rundown on this and a look ahead to all other aspects of Rangers life. Have a good June, troops. See you soon.